Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. Let's get you up to date with the day's top stories right now. A Maha win for Chief Minister Shinde, wins the floor test easily. 10 Congress MLAs, 8 NCP MLAs stay away from voting. Uddhav Thackeray says, called midterm polls, we will defeat you there. Now arrested, the main shooter in the Sidhu Moosewala killing is a teenager. He fired 6 times at the singer, says the cops. The killers make a video, show them celebrating after the murder, posing with their weapons and cartridges. After the brutal killing of a chemist in Amravati, now threat calls received by those who supported the BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma's comments. Home Minister Amit Shah meets the anti-terror agency's chief. Alt News co-founder, fact-checker and journalist Mohammad Zubair faces a new FIR, this time in UP, for calling out hate speech and using the term hate mongers against those who actually made hate speeches. Major order for consumer tips not mandatory, service charges not a must at hotels and restaurants anymore. Heavy rainfall in Mumbai. The Chief Minister directs coastal districts to stay on alert. The NDRF deploys teams. And multiple people shot at in a 4th of July parade in Illinois in the United States. You guys. It was an easy win for Eknath Shinde in the trust vote. The Team Shinde BJP coalition proved its majority comfortably, winning 166 to 94. Eknath Shinde broke down during his speech in the Maharashtra Assembly, his first as Chief Minister after that easy vote, trust vote win. He also claimed that he almost became Chief Minister of the previous Shiv Sena Congress alliance, but the NCP's Ajit Pawar opposed him. Looking at the opposition benches, he then remarked, "Don't take it personally, but many MLAs were worried about their identity and insisted that the BJP is a natural ally." Uddhav Thackeray, meanwhile, gathered the Shiv Sena, at least the part that he still commands, had its office in Mumbai on Monday evening and dared the new government, led by party rebel Eknath Shinde, to midterm elections. For now, the new government has the numbers in the House, but the battle isn't over on 2 key fronts: the legal fight over which is the real Shiv Sena and the one about perceptions as to who represents the Sena's ethos.
In a turbulent 14 days, Eknath Shinde, with 40 Sena MLAs and the backing of the BJP's over 100 MLAs, sailed through the floor test in the State Assembly this morning.
अनुकूल सदस्यांची संख्या 164 इतकी आहे.
With 164 MLAs voting for him as opposed to just 99 for the earlier Uddhav Thackeray-led coalition government. An emotional Shinde broke down while talking about the death of his 2 children who died in an accident. He mentioned that was a time he wanted to quit politics, but was persuaded not to by his mentor and Sena stalwart Anand Dighe and Bal Thackeray.
माझी 2 मुलं माझ्या डोळ्यासमोरून गेली. त्यावेळेस मला आधार दिला आनंद दिघे साहेबांनी मला आधार दिला.
The 58-year-old Chief Minister, who was once an auto rickshaw driver and a 4-time MLA from Thane district, hit back at the jibes against him, likening it to the Chaiwala jibe against the Prime Minister. He also spoke of how Hindutva remains at his Sena's core, though he said everyone in Maharashtra will be treated equally.
इस राज्य में सभी जाति पाति के लोग हैं, उनको लगना चाहिए ये राज्य हमारा है, ये आम जनता का राज्य है, ये पब्लिक का राज्य है. ऐसा हम लोग करेंगे.
For Devendra Fadnavis, now Deputy Chief Minister, a time to rub in the political advantage, in spite of his demotion, and to respond to the opposition's charges of the Enforcement Directorate helping the BJP form government.
इकडच्या लोकांवर ईडी ओरडत होते. हे खरंच आहे. ही मंडळी ईडीमुळेच आली आहे. फक्त ती ईडी म्हणजे एकनाथ आणि देवेंद्र आहे.
आदित्य, रश्मि, उद्धव ठाकरे.
In an ironic twist, ex-minister Aditya Thackeray may now face action for voting against the party whip issued by the Sena Legislative Party head, recognized by the speaker on the floor of the House. The Uddhav Thackeray faction rushed to the Supreme Court, asking the court to restrain the speaker from intervening in the status quo ordered by the court, but even that will be heard only next Monday.
हमारे विप का जो भी उल्लंघन जिन्होंने किया है उन पे कार्रवाई तो होगी. जो भाग के गए हैं उनको तो शिवसेना खत्म करनी है और ये शिवसेना कभी खत्म हो नहीं सकती, कभी होगी नहीं. जब वो अपने अपने चुनाव क्षेत्र में जाएंगे और मतदाताओं से मिलेंगे तब उनको पता चलेगा कि जो मतदाता है उनका मन सच में कहाँ है, दिल सच में.
But in bad news for the Uddhav Thackeray faction, more MLAs defecting. One who even cried on camera in his support just a few days ago. Today he switched over to the Shinde camp. 10 Congress MLAs and 8 NCP MLAs, including former Chief Minister Ashok Chavan and Mumbai Youth Congress President Zishan Siddiqui, stayed away today, citing various excuses like not being allowed to enter as they were a little late. Shinde's references to Narendra Modi and Amit Shah in his speech is significant, establishing a mutually beneficial relationship. Sources in the BJP say having a tall Maratha leader as CM will have a two-pronged advantage: consolidate the Shiv Sena around Mr. Shinde and send out a message to the constituents that the BJP did not want to install its own CM.
मोदी साहेब मला म्हणाले शपथ घ्यायच्या आधी, बोले एकनाथ जी अच्छा काम करो, ये राज्य को आगे बढ़ाओ, ये राज्य को प्रगति पथ पे लेके जाओ. आणि अमित शाह साहेब की म्हणाले ये हम लोग तो पुराने मित्र है, शिवसेना भाजपा युति पहले से है, आप चिंता मत करो, आपके पीछे हम चट्टान की तरह खड़े हैं.
As Shiv Sena rebel and now Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde started speaking in the assembly, Uddhav Thackeray arrived here at the Sena Bhavan to hold a meeting with party functionaries on the way forward to save his party, which is seeing its biggest crisis ever. But inside the assembly, Eknath Shinde, while speaking on the floor of the House, made several references to his deputy, Devendra Fadnavis, who was sitting next to him. And political analysts say the imagery suggests that the BJP plans to use Eknath Shinde, a Maratha face in the state of Maharashtra, to further consolidate its Hindutva base. In Mumbai with Sohit Mishra and camera person Praveen Rohit, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And Maharashtra will reduce the VAT or value-added tax on fuel, effectively bringing down prices in the state, Eknath Shinde said in his first big populist move as the new Chief Minister of Maharashtra. The VAT cut will take place after the next meeting of the new cabinet. NDTV spoke exclusively with the new Chief Minister about another big decision taken by his government, shifting the Metro car shed project back to the RA colony.
सर, दो तीन ऐसे मुद्दे हैं. एक आरए में कारशेड का मुद्दा है, एक बुलेट ट्रेन का मुद्दा है. क्या ये मान लें कि कारशेड को लेकर आरए में बन जाएगा और जो बुलेट ट्रेन को लेकर जो प्रोजेक्ट रुका हुआ है वो फिर से शुरू हो जाएगा?
जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट, मैंने पहले ही कहा है कि जितने भी प्रोजेक्ट रुके पड़े हैं, प्रोजेक्ट जितने डिले होते हैं उतनी कॉस्ट बढ़ती है उसकी, और लोगों को उसका कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं. तो इसलिए जितने प्रोजेक्ट जो प्रलंबित है उसको हम लोग आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश करेंगे, बढ़ाएंगे, और लोगों को जल्द से जल्द ये सब प्रोजेक्ट है उसका फ़ायदा उनको मिले, ऐसा काम हम लोग करेंगे. सरकार की जिम्मेदारी यही है.
And moving on, the killers of the singer Sidhu Moosewala are seen celebrating with their weapons, apparently after the crime, in a new video found on the phone of one of the shooters. The 5 men in a car, all of them smiling, are seen flaunting their guns at the camera as Punjabi music blares in the background. Two videos celebrating the murder emerged after the phone of the youngest of the shooter, Ankit Sirsa, was scanned.
This is Ankit Sirsa, accused of killing Punjab music star Sidhu Moosewala. Seen posing with weapons and ammunition in the weeks before the May 29th attack. The police say the teenager fired at least 6 rounds at Moosewala.
18-and-a-half-year-old would be so desperate to, be part of something like this, which is absolutely brazen and sensational. And he was almost very keen to so-called prove himself in the world of crime as he chose to be in.
Ankit Sirsa, about 18.5 years old, youngest of the attackers, arrested last night at 11 from ISBT Delhi, took a photo of himself with AK rifle, wrote Moosewala with cartridges, described as most desperate, fired with both hands, went closest to Moosewala and fired. The attack on Moosewala, according to police investigation, was well planned, involving two modules. One of them allegedly got the go-ahead from Goldie Brar, who heads Brar gang from Canada. And after the killing, the killers and other accused were on the run, from Gujarat to Jharkhand, never staying in a place for more than 2 days. The places they went included Sirsa district, Fatehabad, Tohsham, Pilani, Kutch, Fatehabad, then again Tohsham, Pilani, Kutch, Bilaspur in MP, UP, Jharkhand, NCR and Haryana. The latest arrests were made by Delhi police with logistical support by the Punjab police, who will now take him back to Punjab for further investigation.
अभी और भी कई लोगों की गिरफ्तारी के बारे में बताया जा रहा है. ये एप्लीकेशन जो पंजाब पुलिस ने लगाई थी सारी मेरे पास है. इसके अंदर काफी लोगों के बारे में डिस्क्लोज किया गया है.
Sidhu Moosewala's father spoke after the arrests.
ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਦਾ ਬਦਲਾ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ, ਫਿਰ ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਮਿੱਡੂ ਖੇੜੇ ਦਾ ਬਦਲਾ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ, ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਹੋਰ ਲੈ ਲੈਣਗੇ. ਭਾਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਸ 'ਚ ਬਦਲੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਂਦੇ? ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਕਿਉਂ ਪੜਦੇ ਹੋ? ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਚੀਰ ਕੇ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂ? ਮੇਰੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਾੜੀ ਪੱਟਤੀ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਬਚਿਆ ਕੀ ਹੈ?
In New Delhi with Mukesh Sengar, Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
And days after the Ministry of Home Affairs directed the National Investigating Agency to take over two recent killings that occurred in Rajasthan's Udaipur and Maharashtra's Amravati, Central Agency's Director General met with the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. And on the ground in Amravati after the brutal killing of a chemist, now threat calls have been received by others who supported the BJP's spokesperson Nupur Sharma's comments.
The murder of Umesh Kolhe in Amravati for posting on social media in support of Nupur Sharma is striking terror in the city, especially since others who made similar posts are now receiving ominous messages like these.
वो तुमको एक वीडियो क्लिप बनाना पड़ता भी 30 सेकंड का, तुमको वीडियो में माफी मांगना पड़ेगा कि भाई मैंने जो गुस्सा की, जो गलती करा मैं उसकी माफी चाहता. ये जो रखे थे स्टेटस ये गलत करे, तुम्हारे दुकान पे आके तुमको लेना पड़ेगा क्या, मिलना पड़ेगा क्या? हमको तो पूरा गाँव चलता.
Messages like these have been sent to at least 10 people, police say, in Amravati town. Many of them have also posted apology videos out of fear.
उनके उन सबसे माफी मांगता हूँ और आइंदा ऐसी गलती नहीं होगी, इसकी गवाही देता हूँ.
The threat givers and the victims don't belong to the same WhatsApp groups. So clearly somebody is forwarding these posts. Umesh Kolhe, the owner of a medical store, Amit Medical in Amravati, was killed on the 21st of June. His throat was slit. The murder has a striking similarity to the killing of tailor Kanhaiya Lal in Udaipur. The killers of Kanhaiya also attempted to behead him and left him with severe wounds on the neck. The Amravati police initially thought it was a murder with an intention to rob the victim, but after the case was handed over to the NIA, the local police did a U-turn, admitting that Umesh Kolhe was murdered because he posted on social media in support of Nupur Sharma.
लगता है कि थोड़ा उन्होंने अपनी ताकत ज़्यादा यूज़ करनी चाहिए थी और इसको थोड़ा गंभीरता से लेना चाहिए था.
But the police have denied this.
चाहूँगी कि यहाँ जो बीजेपी के राज्यसभा एमपी हैं, वो जब अमरावती में आए उन्होंने मुझे फ़ोन किया, उन्होंने बोला कि मुझे आपसे मिलना है. वो आए मिलने, मैंने उनको सारी चीज़ें बताई. उन्होंने ऐसा कोई भी आरोप नहीं लगाया. हमारे एफआईआर में ना तो हमने चोरी का ना लूटपाट का ऐसा कोई भी ऑफेंस रजिस्टर सेक्शन लगाया ही नहीं.
7 people have been arrested for the murder, one of them Dr. Yusuf Khan, a close acquaintance of the victim. The police believe it was Yusuf who made Umesh Kolhe's post viral. The two were friends and members of a common WhatsApp group. Dr. Yusuf even attended Kolhe's funeral after the murder. But the man who executed the crime was Irfan Sheikh, and among those arrested. Some had made TikTok videos earlier before the crime, posing with knives. Shoaib and Atif, who are seen in this video appearing to have some fun, eerily have turned out to be accomplices in the murder of Kolhe. The BJP has accused the police of deliberately misleading the investigation. Navneet Rana, MP from Amravati, attacked the previous Uddhav Thackeray government on the issue.
पण 12 दिवसापासून जे डिपार्टमेंट पोलीस डिपार्टमेंट काय करत होती तर मग न्याय आणि हे कुठे व्यवस्था कुठे गेली आमची.
चिंताजनक बात है. ये इंसिडेंट जो है वो चिंता करने वाली बात है. इसके ऊपर सरकार पूरी तरह ध्यान रख रही है.
But are the murders in Amravati and Udaipur linked? Comments on the Prophet appear to be the instigation, but were these crimes planned together? For now, the NIA is tight-lipped.
अंडर इन्वेस्टिगेशन है और हम लोग कमेंट नहीं करते जो अंडर.
And as the NIA pieces together the threads of both these grotesque crimes, perhaps some link may yet emerge. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And the Alt News co-founder, fact-checker and journalist Mohammad Zubair is facing a new FIR, this time in UP, for calling out hate speech and using the term hate mongers against those who made hate speeches. The case has now been based on the complaint of the district president of a group called the Hindu Sher Sena. And now a poster of a documentary film Kali by filmmaker Leena Manimekalai is stoking a controversy. It shows a woman dressed like a goddess smoking. Many have taken to social media demanding her arrest, saying it hurts Hindu sentiments.
This poster for a documentary film titled Kali, showing a goddess smoking and holding an LGBT pride flag, has sparked off a huge row on social media. Many are demanding the arrest of the filmmaker Leena Manimekalai, and hashtag arrest Leena Manimekalai trended on Twitter. In Delhi, a police complaint was filed demanding an FIR.
If we are trying to be an inclusive society, why do we have to hurt sensibilities of one set of people to make others feel included?
Overseas now, Leena, who had made the film for a Canadian project, Rhythms of Canada, in a tweet said, "The film is about what happens in Toronto during an evening stroll by Goddess Kali. If they watched the film, they would post hashtag I love you Leena, not hashtag arrest Leena." She added, "I have nothing to lose. I wouldn't want to be afraid of anything. I want my voice as long as I live. If life is the price, it can be given." Call it hurting religious sentiment or much ado about nothing. The issue has yet again triggered the artistic freedom and freedom of expression debate, even as India aspires to become a mature democracy. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find the TV.
And the government has now barred hotels and restaurants from forcing customers to pay service charge as part of the food bill. An order issued by the Central Consumer Protection Authority on Monday said that hotels and restaurants are banned from adding service charges by default in bills. Those guidelines were released after a rise in consumer complaints about restaurants charging a forced tip. Now the latest guidelines are clear. They give consumers the right to lodge a complaint on the National Consumer Helpline against any service fee charged.
The GST and the CGST or SGST had come in place. So we spoke to, of course, various hotel associations here in Bangalore. And what they did, of course, tell us was there are certain restaurants that, of course, there is something called the hidden charges, which they added along with the SGST and the CGST as well. That is added, and sometimes people continue to also tip, especially the waiters and the other, especially the staff in the hotel, in the restaurant as well. So we did speak to a few customers here, and they were of the opinion saying that yes, sometimes it's very rare that you have a few customers, just a handful of customers coming out and also raising their voice against, especially in terms of such hidden charges. But as far as this particular rule is concerned, it is definitely in favor of consumers. But how much of it, what we are going to see, is something we have to see on ground. Also, if I could try and ask a few customers here, the Consumer Protection Forum, the authority has come up with something called that the restaurants and the hotels, they are not supposed to charge something called the service charge. There is hidden charges sometimes, right?
Yeah, there is.
There is.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
have you any time questioned that?
Yeah, I did, but you don't get a proper response.
You don't get
Yeah,
a response.
exactly.
So do you know that there is something called a helpline forum that you can make complaints?
No.
Okay,
No,
there
not
is a
aware.
national helpline portal where you can make complaints when you are charged, especially this is with regard to service charge.
And Mumbai and surrounding areas are experiencing heavy rains as predicted, and the Khandeshwar station in Navi Mumbai experienced waterlogging due to the downpour. SpiceJet has warned travellers about delays. In a tweet, the airline said due to bad weather and heavy rain, all departures, their arrivals and consequential flights may get affected. Passengers are requested to keep a check on their flight status. The NDRF has also been kept on standby in case of flooding, which requires rescue operations in Mumbai. We're going to go in for a short break. After that, news coming in of a shootout at a 4th of July parade in a Chicago suburb in the United States. Stay tuned. Sports News 2 coming up. And in some horrific news coming in, shots have been fired at a 4th of July parade in a Chicago suburb in Illinois in the United States. At least 5 people are reported to be killed in this shooting. Authorities in Highland Park, that's a suburb where this shootout has been reported, and witnesses have described seeing bloodied bodies, apparently covered with blankets. The Chicago Sun-Times reported that the parade began around 10 a.m. on Monday, but it was halted 10 minutes later after shots were fired. Several witnesses say they heard gunfire. Hundreds of parade goers, some visibly bloodied, then fled the parade route, leaving behind chairs, baby strollers and blankets.